Well, hello, my friends. We are here back again. It's Wednesday, and like every Wednesday, we are back here, Beth, English, and myself, to kind of have another chat. And today, we're going to talk about the topic of how to create your very own opportunity. Sometimes, when you feel like all doors are closing on you, maybe it's time to start thinking about the opportunities that you can create yourself. So, before we do that, and before we start chatting about this, how are you, Beth? Good to see you.
Oh, good to see you too. I'm in Colorado today.
That is awesome, very cool, and I'm sure you're having a great time over there. I've seen some of the pictures on Instagram, so very jealous.
Yeah, it's so beautiful here. I love the mountains. And I have to tell you, like getting away into a new environment and being inspired by nature is really,
Mhm.
I feel like, going to help me when I get back to be super productive. So,
And I think it's a great follow up from the previous episode, where you talk about doing nothing, but
yeah.
doing nothing means doing things, which are a lot of like a lot of self work and also, feeding our lives and getting centered in
hmm
ourselves and clearing our minds. So when you're back, you're gonna be a hurricane.
I know, right?
So that is awesome. Very cool. Well, I'm very excited to chat with you, Beth, on this topic that I picked for today, which is how to create opportunities for you. And particularly as these last couple of weeks have been very intense for me as I've started a new project that's called Sergio Gomez Curates. I'm sure you've seen it. Maybe some of our friends have seen
hmm
it, where I started a kind of an initiative to curate a lot more regularly online, since a lot of the places where normally I would be working to, now we're still under, a lot of restrictions, going to have a lot of people and openings and things like that. But we have the web, which is still working great, fortunately. So I really kind of got myself together and started this new initiative, but got the domain. And but when you get the domain, it's like, okay, now I guess I got to do it, right? So got the domain, started working with also a virtual assistant, and we've been really busy on this, and we're launching, or we actually, by the time this video, you guys are watching it, the first show, it's called Red is already up at sergiogomezcurates.com. And I want to talk a little bit about that, the process of starting something that you really want to do. And I could have gone around and knocking on doors, hey, can I curate a show for you, or things like that, or just do it myself. And so I have like four things that I want to share on that topic. But Beth, you are also a person who likes to start things and likes to create initiatives. So I think it's going to be fun for you too.
Yeah, no, I love this idea about creating your own opportunities because I think sometimes we wait for someone else to give us permission to do the things that we want when really
Mhm.
we could just do them ourselves and not wait at all. And I think that this is a great lesson to learn that if you have a desire in your heart to create or do something with your work, that just go
Mhm.
ahead and start doing it and don't wait for someone to say it's okay. Like I'm telling you right now, like it's okay. You
It's
can start.
okay. Exactly. So I want to share with our friends like kind of 4 points that I look at and I think of it, anytime that I'm going to start something, a new project, whether it may be a small thing or maybe a big thing like this one, which ended up being a little bit kind of a big one. So, I always think about, there are two ways of looking at opportunity. And I think one of them is like, okay, you can sit down in the couch and wait for the opportunity to come to you, and sometimes there are lucky people that happens to them. Like opportunities come to them left and right. I'm not one of those lucky people that just comes from nowhere. I kind of and this kind of my parents kind of taught me that you gotta work for what you want, right? So
Mhm.
I'm the type of person who like I'm not gonna wait here in the couch. I'm gonna get up and get to work. So that's kind of how I approach it. So the first thing is like take the initiative. If you have an idea for something you want to do, if there's something that's been in the back of your head for a while, as you said, we don't need to wait for permission. We can start taking the initiative and start, exploring the possibilities first, which you don't want to just jump in, blindfolded and into it, but to start looking into what would this take? What would this look like if I actually do this? I started kind of visualizing what would it look like if I do Sergio Gomez Curates as an initiative, and what will it be like? What will be the parameters? What will be the yes things?
Mhm.
What will be the no things? Before I
Mhm.
actually clicked anything on the web.
Yeah, I love how you just want to dream into the opportunities you want to create for yourself. And I mean, anything really is possible when you have a vision, you have a plan, and you start working the plan. I remember I turned a coffee shop show into like a full page article in an arts magazine, all
Amazing.
because of the way that I, geared the show's message towards the community itself, the research I did and the people I connected with, and telling that story made it a really interesting show and turned it into some really nice press. So, I mean, you can turn something that's a small opportunity even into a bigger opportunity.
That's so right.
And I love that. So it can be that it's so exciting when you see that these things are possible.
Yeah. And I love, you can always tell when somebody is doing something that they enjoy because there's a smile in their face, and that's kind of a big parameter too for me. This is not one of the points I had, but I just thought about it because you were smiling as you were talking about, this idea, this memory that you have of something that you created that brought you joy and happiness, and that, therefore you were smiling, as you talk about it. So, and I think that should be also a meter in our choice making. Like, is this something I want to do? How happy am I, to even think about it? Or now maybe this is not what I want to do. But anyway, the second one that I want to talk about, the second point, as you look into creating opportunities for yourself, is to also organize yourself. You gotta, once you have these ideas, all the dreams, and the truth is that anything that you want to do is gonna take time from something that you're already doing, right? Even if you don't have a full schedule, but it will take time from your coffee time or your breakfast time or your studio time or your something time, right? Because that's something that you're going to create does not exist. It's not taking anything right now. And no matter what you think about it, even if it's something small, eventually it's going to grow and take up more space. So you have to organize yourself from the get-go so that you don't get kind of like taken by surprise when this thing starts to take up a little bit of, or a lot of your time. So I think organization is key on that.
Yeah, I remember when I used to wake up at 5 a.m. before I went to my full-time job so I could paint. I could get ready for a show that I was in. And then I knew when I came home that I'd be doing the same thing. And then I would be up all night preparing my space to work again the next morning. But it was just like, I had to do it. And it was awesome. I didn't care that I was up that early working. Like, I was working towards a goal. And when you have that deadline of a show, like, you have to be ready. I think that really helps motivate you to get it done.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, it's a fun race to be on, right?
It is. Yeah. I love that feeling of like the anticipation of a show and getting the work finished and telling and understanding like the meaning behind every piece, and then the bigger picture behind the entire message of the show and how you want to tell that to others, people who are either watching or in attendance. Because I think that's the whole point of why we do it anyways, is to communicate and evoke emotions and have dialogues with others about like what we're thinking and feeling on the inside through this visual expression that we create.
Totally. I love that. Yeah. So, that is so important to get yourself in that mood of working and organizing yourself to make it happen. And my third point on this will be also to start reaching out. The truth is that, and I think Beth, you and I, we had talked about this before, the importance of collaborating with others, or teamwork, the idea that we're not alone in the world, but we can reach out to others and ask for help. It's okay to ask for help. And that's as I look at different things that I want to do, because like a project like this, a Human Scales, I know it's going to take time from me. What that means it's going to take time from also my family, or maybe some of the things that we have. And how to structure that is recognizing that I'm going to need help. And identifying who am I going to need help with, and not start the project until that person is lined up to to help out, right? And that could look in many ways. You can hire a person, you can hire an assistant, you can work with an intern, you can work with your friend or your sister, your brother. It could be a volunteer thing, could be a paid thing, whatever it is. But you got to figure out what is the help that I need in order to get this done, so that you don't have to do all the work as well. But here's the thing, you give also an opportunity for the other person that's working with you to also enjoy the process of building this together with you, which I think is a learning also experience for somebody else.
Yeah. The feeling when you've asked for help a little too late.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's such a great point. We always need help when we have a vision that we need that extra support. Sometimes I think that feeling for help feels vulnerable, right? Or asking for help feels vulnerable. But when you start doing it and you start engaging people with your ideas and you see how excited they get about it too, I think that encourages me so much when I start sharing what I'm doing and start connecting with people around it. And that it actually makes the vision even more real. And I think that helps give me momentum and propels me like to do the next hard thing, because doing this work is not easy, right? Organizing
Right.
yourself and committing and dedicating yourself to the time that it takes. But when you start doing it and you start telling people about it, I think that's when the excitement really starts to bubble up.
Totally agree. Absolutely. And what a great word, excitement. That's a wonderful word. And the last one, is actually go for it. Once you have already visualized it, you have already organized yourself and the steps that you need to take. And once you have already reached out and you got the help you need, now it's time to just let it go. Just kind of embrace the moment, enjoy it, and also be open for the surprises, because then you're going to have surprises. Even as I created this project, there were things that I thought were going to be like super easy, and then some things that were supposed to be easy, just became really hard.
Yeah.
And also sometimes you have great surprises. The response of the first show was amazing, and so there was a rain of submissions in 1 week. So be ready for surprises, because that's so important. But only by going for it, you will start really adapting and really taking shape into this project that you have set for yourself. So that's how you find, or not how you make, I should say, opportunities for yourself in any project, whether it's small or big or anywhere in between. Is taking these steps, I think, are very helpful.
Yes, I love it. And I love the going for it, because when you go for it, that's when you're actually being what it is that you're visioning, right? And so that to me is when it's actually, you've created what it was that you imagined, and there's no turning back when you go for it.
Right.
And that's exciting, because you're pushing yourself forward, you're reaching a new level, you're leveling up your mindset. There's a lot of things going on in that point. And all of those things are what we need to keep reaching to the next step and to the next step. And so it's like a good muscle memory practice to just keep going for it in all that you do, and see where it leads you, because it really is about the process and not necessarily like the outcome at the end of the day is great and that's what you're reaching towards, but what you develop in the process, I think is really interesting. And you've got some great points there. So excellent. Love this topic today.
Well, thank you, Ben. Hopefully your friends found this also useful. And before we go, as also we want to remind you that we are open to hear from you, my friends. Send us your comments, your questions, things that you would like to hear more about. We'll be very excited to engage with you. And Beth, where can our friends, find you in social media?
You can find me on Instagram at Beth English. Right now I'm in Colorado, so check out those beautiful snow pics.
They're amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing here. And then I'm also on Facebook and TikTok and Clubhouse at Beth English and bethenglish.com. So what about you, Sergio?
Very cool. Well, first of all, I had to say that I've only been in Colorado in the summer, so I cannot imagine how it is in the winter. It should be really beautiful. But well, you guys can find me on Sergio Gomez Art. And since I'm talking about this in this episode, the Sergio Gomez Curates, make sure you go and check out the show. Red is, just go to www.sergiogomezcurates.com. You can see the Red is exhibition and the upcoming Call for Artists. It's already up, and it's going to be really, really cool. There are no fees to enter. There are no fees if you get accepted. That's the whole premise of Sergio Gomez Curates. So go check it out. We'd love to hear from you.
Awesome.
Well, my friends, thank you for joining us today. We look forward to connect with you once again next week. So bye, Beth. Enjoy Colorado.
Bye.